Hey, this is just going to be a rambling video about my experience with my 2020 Husqvarna FE350. This is the straight F350, not the S model, so it was not street legal. Reason I did that was street legal version was about $600 more. It doesn't come with the map switch or traction control on the street legal version. The street legal version actually has these tires. Yeah, I got these tires are from a different project I'm working on, but they're not the greatest tires, and you would probably have to swap them out anyway. The mirrors on the street legal version are kind of junky, or I shouldn't say junky, but they would break off. Same thing with the taillights and everything. You'd probably wind up replacing those. And the other thing is, this one is opened up a little bit more. It doesn't have the screen in the back, and supposedly on the intake there's some different stuff. There's very little information about the people just say the mapping is different between this and the street legal version. What that actually entails, whether there's actually more horsepower in this thing, I don't know. This one still is pretty choked up. It still has the O2 sensor. Best I can tell, people are saying it makes somewhere between 38 and 42 horsepower, depending on who you ask and what dyno runs you see on YouTube. And that's actually for the street legal version. The other thing, street legal version doesn't have the rim locks installed. This one came with rim locks installed. And supposedly this gearing was taller. This has got a I think it's a 52 tooth rear sprocket. Then if you look in the spec paperwork, it shows that between the 350 and 350S, it has the final drive 14 to 52 on the 350. And then on the street version, it has 1448. You probably can't see this. You just have to take my word for it. That being said, this bike, the street version at the dealer, I went and looked at two different versions of them, and they all the 350s and the 350Ss all had a 52 rear sprocket. So I'm not sure if there's any internal gearing differences or anything. I can say that this bike I've had on the road, I was in fifth gear at 70 miles an hour going uphill, no problem. I did the conversion on this bike. I just got it checked out today. I just had to get the plate. I'll probably do that tomorrow. Some of the changes I've done on this bike, I actually put this rear disc guard on there that just kind of replaces part of the caliper in there. I left the composite skid plate on there. I'll probably get a different composite skid guard that comes back and guards the linkage, but for now, I'm leaving the linkage for now. The die-cast aluminum parts that protect the linkage are actually more than these linkage parts themselves generally, well, depending on how much you damage it, but I'll see what I'm going to do on that. I put on I had to put on some street tires here. So these are the Moto Z, basically a 50-50 tire, but these are DOT tires. I have rim locks in here, and I did get them balanced because I will do about 20% street on this. My connecting trails are relatively my connecting roads are relatively high speed, 50 miles an hour and faster. So same thing here on the front. I got the matching Moto Z tire in the front. That's pretty good. It's like a medium compound. It's not too hard. Hasn't chunked out yet. I've only got about 80 miles on the bike so far. The other thing this model has is you can set these rings so you can see how much stroke you're using on your shocks. Dealer said don't touch the suspension until you get 10 hours until it gets softened up, and then set your sag and everything. So I haven't done any of that yet. But as you can see, I'm using about 2/3 of the stroke, which is about perfect. Although I'm with all my gear on, I'm over 200 pounds, so the spring rates and stuff might be a bit soft for me. What else? I actually had bought the Cycra wrapped around hand guards with the HCM mounts, which mount right here to the handlebar mounts. And then I wound up getting second thoughts about them, because the good thing about these flag mounts is that they're mounted actually to your to your mounts for your brake and clutch. And they sell another piece which actually just got delivered today, which is going to come around and be a wraparound that completes this as a wraparound. And then as you lower your levers, your flags will actually drop. So sometimes you'll see on those HCM mounts, they can only mount in a certain way. You have some flexibility mounting them this way, but when you start rolling the bars and trying to adjust your bars, those things put some tension on there, and you sometimes can't adjust your bars the way you want. And then sometimes you'll see your levers get kind of stick out the bottom. Yes, I understand that flag or the hand guards are actually to guard your hands, but there's kind of a combination feature in there. If I had these levers sticking out the bottom, I'd probably go with a folding lever, and that's just another issue there. The other thing I did was this being the off-road model didn't have these perches on here, so I actually, let me undo this here. I actually had the dealer order, I guess that's indestructible. I actually had them order these perch mounts, just this top part, so I can put the ball mount in here. The ones that came in here were just smooth, so there's nothing to mount it on there. As you can see, this is already kind of a disaster. I threw all this on because I was trying to get this street legal kit on before a ride the next morning. I'm actually going to move the traction control switch probably over here. And then now with these mirrors, I can use them for both these mounts for the mirrors, or if I have like a RAM mount for my phone or something, if I am off-road, but they come off pretty easily, almost too easily. As you can see, that one just fell there. This is a side cast kit. It's actually the KTM 350 kit. It was $350 before the discount I got at the dealer, but it's the same one. You just get the KTM one, but you add this part on. These fit into some factory holes here for the signals. Back here, it comes with the low profile blinkers. There's not much room back here. As you can see, they're hanging down a little bit. If you don't look too close, they actually look pretty good. But you can see they're just a bit big. And then I just actually screwed this directly into the existing fender. The street version has this whole secondary adapter with the stock turn signals and stuff that you'd probably take off anyway. Taking off this rear fender, I'll put it in the notes there so it kind of triggers it here. We're about 8 minutes in the video. When you take out these bolts, these little this black section comes off first. So you basically have to take off this under mount black fender part first. And then this white section on top, there's actually like two sections in here that you have to like pinch together. They actually stick in the side. So if you don't pinch those things together, this whole white thing won't come off. It's pretty tough, but take your time. Take this one off first. Once you take the bolts out of here, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's two little things. You got to push them so they slide to the middle, and you can pull this whole section off. These I had a stick on for the inspection today. Now they're off. The street headlight is actually on this one too, so it has a high beam, low beam. In the off-road version, it's just basically a running light. When you connect this harness and everything, there's no splicing. You just plug it in the factory headlight. It goes high beam, low beam, and a running light. The horn for now I put down here under the radiator guards. You can see I also put the billet aluminum radiator guards on there for now. What else? I got the wraparound or the open-ended screw-on handguard locks, which I'll put on maybe tonight or tomorrow. And then I also bought the tapped handlebar ends. So you basically tap these, you screw these in, so it gives you something really secure to screw the wraparound handguards into. Let's see what else. The break-in period, the first hour, I ran it exactly an hour, and there's a magnetic drain plug there that had quite a bit of metal filings on it. Drain the oil. Put another 4 hours on it after that. Put more mineral oil in. Oil was still relatively dirty, but not as bad as before. And then just basically some very, very, very fine powdery particles on the magnet. The let's see what else. The street legal kit. I ordered a Seat Concepts, a low profile seat, which lowers the seat height by about an inch. This bike is about a ½ inch lower than last year's model. It's about a 37.5 inch seat height. That Seat Concepts seat will take it down to about a 36.5, and leave the suspension alone, which I want to do. Other than that, felt a little tight the first hour or two. It's really opened up. It's pretty free revving, pretty linear power. Just the power and the suspension is exactly what I expected. This does come stock with a radiator fan, both a street and non-street version. It has the frame protectors. Those were factory installed there too. Overall, really happy with the bike. See, I was going to say something else. I guess that's it. So just trying to decide between the straight 350 and the 350S. I live in Nevada, so it's pretty easy, just a paperwork thing to get it street legal. If you live in California, another area, it's probably best just to buy the S model and have the street legal title on it. I think you can add this traction control later onto the street version, although they would technically make it not a legal street version according to Husqvarna, but I think it would just plug back in. So that's all I got. Hope this helps you guys. I had some questions on there. Not a whole lot of information on the straight off-road 350 versus the S model out there. So there you go.